So now suddenly I'm not so stressed about filling a room full of people. I'm now obsessed with filling a room full of the perfect person. Hey, I have a question for you. Is bigger always better when it comes to your followers online? Well, if you are a smart business owner, then you know that is not the right answer, right? No, bigger when it comes to your following online is absolutely not necessary. What matters, you guys, is engagement. That's where you want the numbers. Whether this is your email list, your LinkedIn connections, your Instagram followers, whatever it is online, if you have ever struggled to convert your followers to customers, then you know that it is not about the size at all. It's not the size that matters as much as it is to have the right followers that are engaging with you, right? If you think about all the times that you've put out emails, content online, the things that are getting activity happening in your business are the pieces of content that get people to click, to share, to engage, to do stuff with you, right? So I was thinking about this the other day. So this whole sort of concept came to mind last week. So I'm having I'm running a live event coming up a little bit later this year that I'm really excited about. And I have an incredible guy on my team named Adam. Shout out Adam if you're listening. Adam works in sales in our team and also is a bit of a business mentor and coach. We're going to be utilizing his incredible mind more and more and more in the business. And part of that is going to be co-speaking and co-presenting with me on stage at the upcoming events. So I flew out to Melbourne. I'm in Sydney. That's where I'm based in Australia. I flew out to Melbourne. Guys overseas, it's kind of like, it was a short flight, right? It's like an hour and a half at the most from gate to gate. So it's real quick. I'm a California girl at heart. So for me, it'd be like the equivalent of flying from sort of like Los Angeles to, I don't know, San Francisco, something like that, right? It's not too long. So basically, flew over to Melbourne, got a co-working space for the day where we basically got together and we met for the very first time, right? So we got the co-working space, met up, sat down, and I was speaking to him about the event. And we were trying to work out how many people do we actually want coming to the event. And I was like, oh, I want all these people in the room. And then he kind of got me thinking a little bit differently about it, right? Instead of having a huge room full of people that are not engaged with you, that are not the right target market for you, that are not the people that you can help, what's the purpose? So instead, we started talking and he got me thinking more about this. How do I get the perfect person in the room for what I'm going to teach? And how can I get them engaging with my content that we're going to teach? The perfect person engaging with the content, because those are the people that I can help the most. So now suddenly I'm not so stressed about filling a room full of people. I'm now obsessed with filling a room full of the perfect person. And how does this story connect with, your online marketing and everything, right? Because it's that mindset shift of understanding that you're creating content to talk to the right person, and you don't have to be building huge followers or huge following to do that. So how do we grow our engagement without wasting loads of time creating pointless content? How do we do it? Here's a couple of things to keep in mind with how you guys spend your time. First of all, focus on attracting the right people to your business. So in other words, if you could attract 100 more people into your business, who would they be? So you've got 100 more people in your business tomorrow, in the next week, in the next month. Who would they be? Think back to all your best customers as you've grown your business, the ones that you love supporting and helping. Get 100 more of those people. What would they be? What's their demographic? Where do they live? What's their age range? What's their profession? What's their values? All of that stuff is what you want to keep in mind. Number 2, you want to focus on creating content just for them. So you get that engagement, whether again, it's sales, email list signups, or even getting them to comment on your stuff. So you really want to think about that ideal person and how are you going to create content for them. Now, if people are already engaging with certain content of yours, then amplify it. Put it out there to more people. That's another way to get more engagement. So for me, as I'm growing this podcast that you are either watching on YouTube or you're listening to on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to this, as I'm growing this, I am taking little snippets. So we take little reels or short videos that are 60 seconds or less from the video version of this podcast. And then basically we put it out on social media. So I put it on, Instagram, we repurpose on YouTube Shorts, Twitter, everywhere. Put it everywhere. We use a tool called repurpose.io, which we really like. Now, what I do is I look at the engagement, I look at the reach, I look at which episodes are being, engaged with the most, or I should say which snippets of episodes are being engaged with the most. Now, what I do then is I boost those. So I put them in and I create them into ads right now I'm doing it to mostly my warm audiences, so people that already know me, that have been engaging with me over time, but I'm also starting to stretch out to colder audiences as well. So that's another thing too, is you can listen to the market and see what they are liking, and then you can already know that there's some sort of interest there, and you can boost it and amplify it to get more engagement. Yeah, you might be spending some money on ads, but it can be very, very minimal to reach more people. So ultimately, to recap, you're focusing on attracting the right people. Really think about that person you're talking to. You're creating content just for them. How are you going to help them? And you are amplifying the content that's working really well, maybe through some ads, ways of getting out there to more. And yes, you guys, this can take time. This can be frustrating, but you don't need to strap yourself to a camera and, to do all this stuff, to create the content that your tribe is really interested in. So what I want to leave you with is this. You just need to speak their language. So remember that. Remember the people you're talking to. Is there jargon that they use? Is there a way of talking or being? Are there sort of pop culture moments? Are there memberships or associations? What things can you reference or talk about that uniquely connects you with them? Speak their language, be vulnerable. That's really important as well. Be yourself, be real, be vulnerable. People like to connect with people that are real and not perfect. And think what will help them move from where they are now to where they want to be. How can your stories and your lessons that you create and share in your content help them do that? It's really that simple. And be specific. The more specific, the better. So if you are looking to cut out some of that hustle and grind out of your content creation, stop worrying about your huge followers and trying to build huge followings. Instead, focus on engagement and creating really great content. You don't have to create huge amounts of content, but create really good content that really speaks to the person that you're trying to connect with in your business. All right, you guys, that's it. Thank you, as always, for tuning in and listening. Hopefully you got a couple little tips in there on where to maybe change your focus, because this episode, or this podcast, I should say, is all about sort of shifting your focus to things that might help you live a bit more of a joyful life, right? Not be so stressed out and so overwhelmed all the time. Until next time, have a really wonderful rest of your week. Bye-bye.